I'm going to tell you how you should really approach your photo shoots if you want to land regular clients and build up a profitable portrait photography business. In this video, we're going to break down a recent photo shoot that I just did for New Balance. We're going to look from the pre-production phase to the post-production phase and everything in between. So let's get into it. As a portrait photographer, your portfolio is crucial if you want to start by landing clients. And the only way to start building up that portfolio is by doing portfolio shoots, TFP shoots, or free shoots, which you probably already knew by now, but it's not just about shooting for free and just booking a random shoot with a model and thinking that you're making progress because you're shooting for free. It's about making sure every single shoot is impactful and intentional. On my channel, I like to call these genius shoots. Shoots where you plan, budget, and source a team. And this is the knowledge that I teach and much more on my program, Photo Genius University. In this program, I give you the most detailed blueprint into how you should approach your portrait photography business in the right way so you can attract the clients you actually want to work for. And not just these boring commercial shoots, but shoots where you get to have your own creative input, just like this one. Making money doing what you love. So if you're interested in that, click the top link below in the description to learn more about it. I want to see you inside the program. Planning is the one thing that instantly transformed my photos into what they are today. Okay, so I've got my laptop here. This is what I mean by planning out your photo shoots. This is the way how you should do it. So here's what I did. I created a PDF. So first, I thought of a cool little title for the photo shoot. I've called it Unlisted, and yes, it wasn't actually a shoot for New Balance, it was a spec ad. So don't hate me if you thought I was actually shooting for New Balance here, but sorry about that, sorry to disappoint you, but yeah. So first thing, I like to start with a little description for the photo shoot. So this kind of just like contextualizes the entire vibe of the photo shoot, basically, what I'm going for, what's the story here, basically. And it can help out with how you approach the photo shoot, how you light it, how you pose the model. I wouldn't say this is 100% essential, but having this in there is going to instantly just transform the way you approach your shoots from now on. So having this in there is very important in my opinion. I say it's not essential, but you probably should put this in there anyway. So this is the little description you put here. You can obviously read it, but you can see I've kind of like described the model a little bit here. You know what I mean? Tattooed muse. Like obviously I have like a little idea of like, okay, what is the model going to look like? What is the personality, what is the vibe of the model, what's the vibe of the shoot in general, basically. So when I'm picking out the model, I can go from like this description and I can really, this is easier for me to pick, basically. So yeah, so I like to start off with like a general mood board after I've done the description. Again, this is probably what you're doing. You are probably doing something like this right now. You are probably creating a mood board. You're watching this video being like, Joe, I've done this, I've created a mood board before, I've done this, so what do you mean? But you're stopping at that. You're not carrying on from there. You're not going into more detail. You do this little mini mood board and then all of a sudden you're finished and thinking that's your planning for the photo shoot. Now you're prepared. That is why you're not creating your best work, because you're stopping at this. So next up, I like to include the lighting. So you can see now we're going really specific with each like aspect of the photo shoot. So I started with lighting first. I created these photos in this app called Satellite, which is, I'll put in the description below, you can check it out. It's basically like a 3D simulation, gives you like a 3D model of some lighting techniques that you can use. Obviously, it's actually like a studio basically, but you can just like use whatever lights and modifiers you like. It's really good to plan out your lighting. It's great. So I have this here, just describing it a little bit: soft, low-key lighting with harsh highlights for drama and impact. But you can notice I'm not putting in the description like this long, like technical description of like, oh, I'm gonna have a softbox on the top light with some rim lights using reflector dishes. Like I'm not being super technical, because again, people who are going to read this PDF are going to be either clients or people like stylists and models and makeup artists. They're not going to understand what that means, so they're not going to, what's the point of putting in like, I'm gonna use a specific light modifier or whatever. So yeah, I just put something like that, which is easy to understand, like in layman's terms basically. Then I go on to styling here. For the styling, we had to, because it was a spec ad, we didn't get provided the clothing, so we had to buy the clothing pieces. Obviously, it was going to be a New Balance shoot, so we were going to buy New Balance clothes. So I found these pieces online. This one here, the shorts, the jorts, they were just from like Vinted or something like that, like eBay. They weren't actually from New Balance website, of course, but these ones were from there. But you could imagine, because it is a spec ad, we're not getting someone to provide us the clothing, so obviously we had to buy the clothes ourselves. So I initially planned on doing an outfit like this, but in the end we went for something different, which is completely fine. Things change, but yeah, I just put a link to that there, so when the stylist sees it, they can just click that link and see how much it costs or whatever like that. And then I go on to accessories here now. So we've got the styling, now we go into something more detailed, like the accessories. So I wanted the model to wear accessories, so obviously I included that in there. Small silver pieces, rings, bracelets, necklaces, just putting something like that in there, especially if you're going to work with a stylist. They need to know these things. This is why I put this in there, because another thing about the Genius Shoots is by sourcing a team, which we will go on to. But if you're sourcing a team for the photo shoot, you can imagine, if you're sourcing a team, you need this team needs to know what you're going for. And this also just reduces the communication between you and the stylist, and you don't have to worry about constantly messaging them, being like, we need this, we need that. And even if you're not working with a stylist, even if you're working with just the model and they're going to provide their own clothing pieces, instead of just being like every other day messaging them, oh shit, I need to message them to make sure they bring this, make sure they bring that. I can just make this PDF, send it off to them, and then it's boom, it's done. It's done. They already know what they already know what to bring, and it's sorted like that, right? So next slide. Okay, there's nothing here, but there was something here. I don't know what's happened here. Maybe I accidentally deleted the photos or something like that. But there was props. So we had like a brick phone prop in there. So I'm pretty sure I had photos of reference photos of brick phones, but for some reason it's not there. But you can imagine, put phones on that, boom. So after all of this, we move on to a shot list. Now, the shot list is probably the most important thing to have in here for preparation reasons, because now it's just going to save you so much time from having to memorize poses in your head and all that type of shit. Like, if you're a photographer right now that struggles with posing models, this is like the perfect thing to have. Even professional fashion photographers or portrait photographers that can think of poses on the spot still include this, by the way. So first thing to do, start with full shots. Well, the type of shots that you want to go for. So obviously I want to do full shots, and these are just various poses that I want to get. But you can imagine, if it's like on a mood board like that, I can put this laptop next to me on the shoot and have it like this, for example, and the model is, for example, you. They can see the poses on the screen, being like, okay, let's do that pose next, and that pose. Especially if you're working with a model who doesn't really know how to pose. If you're working with a model who doesn't really know how to pose, it's like, they can just look at this and refer to this, and they know what they're doing. And even for you as a photographer, if you forget a pose, or you don't really know what pose to do next, you just turn around and be like, oh, let's do that pose next. Like, it's not like, there's no rule behind, oh, you have to memorize every single pose and you can't have any reference photos. Like, it doesn't look any less professional if you do this, by the way. It's not like a big fucking deal. It's not really a big deal at all. And also, when you're doing this, you're avoiding that just awkward silence in between, that awkward pause in between shots where you're like, oh, what pose should I do now? And you're waiting like a couple of minutes. Like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that if it's gonna be like 30 seconds or something like that. But if you're doing that for every single shot and it's like 2 minutes long, you can't think of something, like really struggling for poses, which is probably you right now. You probably are struggling like that on some of your photo shoots. This is perfect to have. So next slide, mid close-up shots. So again, different types of poses for different types of angles here. Yeah, gives you just some good reference points. Again, you don't have to copy this exact thing. You can just go off that as like a reference. Again, reference photos. It doesn't have to be like set in stone of these are the exact shots I want to get. Like, if you look at the poses and the photos that I took for the model, some of these poses I didn't even do. It's just like similar. The poses look similar to what I did, and it's just like, again, it's just a reminder. It serves as a reminder, being like, oh, we should do something like this or something like that. Because sometimes some of these poses may not work with a specific model you have in mind that you're shooting with. Same thing with here, I got product shots. This just reminds me, okay, I need to do some product shots, some shoe shots, which I did do in the end. Shots on the phone. So here's some shots you could do if like he had the prop in his hand and mean like, okay, do something like this, maybe something sitting down or a close-up or something like that. Chair shots. So here's some poses in a chair, because we did do that as well. And yeah, that's it for the shot list. And here I just put photographer, stylist, because I was pitching this to other people to work on. So I was like, okay, here's the people that are working on this shoot, me and the stylist, Stephanie Day. I'll link the entire team and crew in the description below, by the way, if you want to check out their work as well. But yeah, that's really it. Like there was like 17 slides there. Like there's not that much to do. Like I'm not telling you to like, I want you to do the most crazy thing, like spend hours on a single presentation. Like you're making a few slides to just kind of contextualize the idea that you're going for. You're looking at the themes, you're looking at the lighting, what's the styling going to be, the makeup, if you have a makeup in there. Like you're just explaining everything. So when people look at it, they have like a full idea of like, okay, this is what you're going for. This is what you want from the photos. And they can work with you accordingly, because the worst thing to have is working with people that don't even have the same vision as you because you didn't explain it properly. And this is the best way to visually explain your concepts. Next up, budgeting the photo shoot. As you now know from the last section, this isn't an official shoot for New Balance. It was a spec ad, it was a passion project, so we had to buy the clothes. We spent about £300 or just over like $350 on the outfits that we used that day. Obviously, we did return them afterwards, so we did get our money back. So it wasn't like we didn't actually lose that money, but yeah. We did spend money on booking a studio though. We didn't return that, of course, so that was the one thing we did spend our money on. The stylist did buy some extra clothing pieces just for the shoot, like the jorts, bought some jewelry, bought the socks, because you can't return socks. So we did buy the New Balance socks. I also shot on film, medium format film, black and white, Triax 400 Kodak. Yeah, amazing film stock, by the way. So obviously I bought film. So I shot like 3 rolls of film, I think. So what I'm trying to say is that this shoot would literally be impossible without us investing some money into it. You need to be open to spending money on your photo shoots, even if it's a little bit, even if it's only a little bit. Like $50 to $100 I found is like the sweet spot for me. Like you get to have some money to spend on a studio, and then maybe you want to shoot film if you shoot film, but for the most part you probably don't shoot film if you're watching this video, so you get to save money in that aspect. But imagine we weren't willing to put some money towards the photo shoot. This photo shoot would have literally not happened. It wouldn't have been impossible to do without us spending some money on the photo shoot, without investing a little bit of money into the budget. Because you've got to treat these passion projects as investments. You are going to make your money back from these shoots. These passion projects that I do lands me the regular clients. This is the reason why I'm able to make a profitable photography business and make a lot of money from it, because of these free collaborative shoots that I'm doing. As photographers, it isn't just gear that we invest our money into. We just don't just spend a bunch of money on gear and then that's it. Now we should be able to land a bunch of clients. Like, clients do not give a shit about your gear. They care about the skills and the work that you can create for them. And the only way you can really show that and prove that is by doing these passion projects, is by budgeting it. Yes, obviously you want good gear, but before you decide to buy that like $2,000 lens, maybe you buy a cheaper version of that lens, like a third-party version, and then with the rest of the money that you would have spent on that expensive lens, use that money to fund like a whole year's worth of passion projects. Like you can spend up to $100. Like if you had $1,000 to spend on passion projects, that's like 10 or even 20 photo shoots right there. That's like a whole year's worth of photo shoots right there, you know what I mean? Like, which in my opinion, if you do those photo shoots correctly, like you're doing what I'm telling you to do in this video, those photo shoots will land you clients. You will make your money back from a single photo shoot. I've literally gotten to book shoots with clients where they've seen a specific photo shoot that I created, which is most likely a passion project, and they see it and they're like, oh, we want to go for something similar like that. We want something similar, and they hire me for that. Like, you're showing off your skills with this work. Like, don't see it as like, oh, I'm not just doing these passion projects because I find them fun, by the way. Like, I'm not just doing this because I just find them fun, I just want to have fun with it. Like, no, the reason why I'm telling you to do this is not just because I want you to have fun, but because this is actually going to make your money back. You're going to get bookings if you approach your work like this. And lastly, sourcing a team for your photo shoots. If you source a team for your photo shoots, you're going to make your life 10 times easier as a photographer. So for this shoot, the team was actually quite minimal. So we had the stylist and I had a couple of assistants. The stylist does what a stylist does. So they picked out the clothing pieces for the model. We kind of communicated on that. So that was helpful. And also on the day, they're styling the model. They're making sure there's no ridiculous creases in the outfit, and they make sure the model actually looks presentable for the camera. And then the assistants that help me out, they just helped out with setting up the lights, setting up the rigs, which is saves so much time, because we had this massive like scrim, this massive like grid diffusion that I didn't even set it up. They touched that. They just did everything to do with that, right? Because I'm not really, and it just saved me a lot of time, because now I get to focus on what I need to focus on, communicating with the model, setting up my cameras and my film camera and all that type of stuff, right? Like, so I can focus on what I need to focus on. Like, yeah, could you argue that I could have done all of this by myself? Yeah, you could argue yes. Even on the styling, I feel like maybe I wouldn't have picked out the right clothing pieces, because the stylist actually knows what they're doing. I feel like I am pretty decent at styling, but I'm not like an absolute professional at that type of stuff, so it's better to outsource that knowledge to someone else. But yeah, you could argue that I could have done it, but it's just like 10 times more stressful. Like, sourcing a team is more about spreading and dividing that stress factor. And I think it's great too, because it also gives you that experience with what it's like to work with a team. You get to learn the art of teamwork and collaboration as a photographer, which is a very important skill to have. And it's also great because it replicates what it will be like on those bigger shoots that you will work on someday, especially if you watch the channel, follow my advice, and if you join the program, which is top link below. Like, you don't want to go on your first big professional shoot and you're shitting yourself because you've never worked with a makeup artist, you've never worked with a stylist before, you never had assistants helping you out, and you're like, oh, what do I do? Like you won't be like that if you do this in the free collaborative shoots, because you get that experience beforehand. Like, for me, when I've done client work and shoots for clients that have a bigger team, like a makeup artist or a stylist involved or whatever, I'm not like worried. I'm not like getting this really nervous and like nerve-wracking feeling of like, oh, what do? I don't know if I'm doing it correctly, or are we shitting myself, because I've done this before on my collaborative shoots, so I know what I'm doing. And if you want to know how to find a team to work with, well, the program gives you some more networking tips, which is top link below again. But in this video, I'm going to tell you, just reach out to people. Like, don't be afraid to go on Instagram, go message a stylist or a makeup artist in your city and ask them, oh, can we do this shoot together? Again, especially if you have like a PDF, like I just showed earlier, about like the treatment, you create a proposal for that photo shoot. It's like, they are going to be way more likely to be on board, because you can imagine if you're messaging a stylist or whatever about, oh, I got this cool concept for a photo shoot, we should shoot together, and you send them the PDF, they're going to be way more likely to be on board, because it makes you look so much more professional. Like, you have like a solidified idea in your mind. And you'd be surprised how many people would love to work for free. Like, yeah, for now, for me, it's quite easy to source a team because I've worked with so many people and I've built up that network. But even like 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I first started, I still didn't really find it that difficult to find people to work with. Like, it was more of a mindset thing of like, who's gonna wanna work with me? I'm just a beginner. Like, it's a mindset thing more than anything. But when I realized that people actually are willing to work for free, and I'll just message anyone, I would get a lot of responses. So don't think right now, because you're a beginner or you're someone who is just building up their portfolio and you're still not at that like level that I'm at, for example, don't think that you can't reach out to these people. Like, still go out your way to do it. Like, there's people on my program that message me all the time being like, oh, these stylists, they have too many followers, or these makeup artists, they have like 5K followers, and how could I even imagine working with them? But then I tell them, just message them, and they message them, and they actually get a response, and they're like, yeah, let's do it, let's work together. And it's like, yeah, just don't be afraid to reach out to people, basically. And again, if you want to build up a profitable photography business and land clients that you actually want to work for, that give you that creative control, my program, which is top link below, will help you exactly with that. The courses that I give you tell you how you should approach your portfolio to land more clients. If you found the knowledge in this video useful so far, the courses that I link below will give you even more detail and will skyrocket your business. There's already people in the program that are making so much progress, landing shoots and learning how to price themselves correctly. So again, if you want the blueprint to building up a profitable photography business, click the top link below in the description to join the program or to learn more. So So onto the lighting setup now. I briefly mentioned earlier, I'm on this app called Satellite. Again, I'll link it below if you want to check it out. This is how I plan my lighting basically in my setups. It wasn't a very different lighting setup that I usually go for, but the main thing that was different that I don't usually use is this massive scrim right here, this diffusion panel that I used. This was mainly because I wanted to light the entire model with just one light source without having to have multiple lights. And this is one of the best ways to do so, is with this having like a massive diffusion, having a massive softbox or like light source. Because you can imagine if you have a light beaming through this thing here like it has right here, and you're having this massive diffusion, the light has a much bigger spread, which obviously kind of spreads out through the entire model, and not just like, if you used a normal softbox, a parabolic softbox, for example, you would only light like the top half, and then like the bottom half is lit, but it's kind of dark and it doesn't really show off properly. So that's one thing, that's one of the main reasons why I had this thing here. And it also just has this really nice soft effects on the lighting. Again, because the light source is so huge, the lighting is so soft and it makes it look really nice. And as the top light, I had this parabolic softbox with a grid on it. Again, this is just directly above them as like a little like nice top light right there. To be honest with you, I think for most of the shots, the light was actually not triggering, because I think it was so hot in that studio, by the way, so it was like, I think it maybe overheated or something like that, and it just turned off by itself. But I did notice it like over halfway through the shoot, near the end of the shoot, which obviously I changed it, I turned it back on. But so for a lot of the shots, this light didn't even go off, but these two lights did definitely go off. These were my rim lights. Again, I had like, it said here for Fresnel 2 times, but on the day I just had these reflector dishes with honeycomb grids on them, 30-degree honeycomb grids on them, which basically just narrows down the lighting a little bit more so it doesn't spread onto the background and stuff like that. And it's just more specifically on the model. And yeah, that's really it for the setup. Like, very simple setup in my opinion. I had a little like polyboard here just to give some negative fill, because again, when you have this super soft light source there, you need to have some negative fill to create some contrast. And obviously you want to make sure that this isn't too far in front, because if you have it too far in front, then again, you're not really creating that much shadow, you're not really creating that much contrast on the model's face and that depth. So you want it more to the side. And again, with the polyboard, having that in there kind of accentuates the shadows a little bit more, which by the way, I teach all this in my portrait lighting course, which again is a top link below, which is a part of the program that you get, a little bonus course, which I go over everything there is to do about lighting, because I know a lot about lighting. Let's just say that. And you want to know, if you don't know a lot about lighting, that course will help you out. But for now, let's just carry on here. And for the shoe shots, I did some shoe shots too. In the app, in the pre-production, when I was like setting up the lights in this app and like testing it out, I did initially have this diffusion panel there, but then I found on the day when I was using it, it didn't have like any contrast and any sort of like shadow at all, which I didn't like at all. It was very flat, like commercial look, which I hated. So instead, I switched it out for a beauty dish. So I had one of my assistants, my friends, I had him hold the beauty dish and point it at the model's feet on a certain angle, because the beauty dish, compared to this, the beauty dish has a much less spread. The spread is like much more narrow, so it has a much more harsher light source, which is going to have more contrast with, it's going to be way more shadows and more separation. So I had literally had him pointing it at the ground basically. And obviously that's how I got the look that you can see on the screen. But yeah, that's really it for the lighting. Not much to really talk about here. But one thing I do want to say, actually, one thing I learned with photo shoots is that you want to have some diversity with each shot that you do, not just in terms of the poses and the angles and stuff, but also sometimes in terms of the lighting. So for the most part, your lighting is going to stay the same, but for some shots, you may change the lighting up like a slight bit, or you may change one specific softbox to another thing, or like what I did with the beauty dish for the shoes. Or in this case, I did one shot where I actually had it like this, where I had it like as like no key light. Well, I had a beauty dish here, but I didn't have that on at all. But it was like this, right? It was just literally every light but the key light, and it had this really cool silhouette look to it. I had that just as like a little variation, because that could also change the impact of the photos. Because you can imagine, if every single shot is the exact same lighting and the exact same type of composition and angle and that type of stuff, even the styling too, every photo kind of looks the same. They kind of blend in together, but when you try out different outfits and you get the different poses and different angles, some close-ups, some mid shots, some long shots, and you even change the lighting up a slight bit, like maybe a silhouette shot, or maybe it's like you're changing the key light to something else. When you're doing something like that, it just has this like effect on each image, and each image almost looks like its own thing, which obviously creates a much more impactful effect. So I'd say for your next photo shoot, have like that main lighting setup that you want to go for, but then for some shots you want to change it up a slight bit. And also for everything else too, like angles, compositions, styling, that sort of thing. I want to briefly discuss the video side of this photo shoot because we did do some video as well. I know it's not a part of my photography, but I'm going to tell you why I do this for my photo shoots. I basically do video for almost every single photo shoot that I do, I always incorporate it in some sort of way because it's good for content. Like, it's amazing for creating montages, cinematic like vignettes and stuff like that. And it's just like a cool way to show off your work and to promote your photo shoots. Because if you look at the video montages that I've created for my photo shoots, which I'll probably put on the screen right now, they're basically just like moving portraits. Like, it isn't this like super in-depth like story, like I've got like dialogue and it's like a talking head or something like that. Like, no, it's just like the model posing, dancing, or just vibing a little bit, which is something that they will do anyway for the photos. I also love doing this because I get to create teaser trailers, I get to promote the photo shoot and build up hype for it. Like for this photo shoot, for example, I created 2 teaser trailers for the shoot with the video that we shot on the day, and the views were crazy. Like I have like 1,500 followers on Instagram. I was getting like, I think I got like 4,000 views on this one short in like 24 hours, which for me, is like really good. For those type of numbers on my profile is like unheard of. And because of those teaser trailers, you're building up that hype, and when you actually post the photos, you get like 10 times more engagement on your profile. And I'll put on the screen like how many views the photos have currently. I made 2 posts out of them. I'm pretty sure one of them has over 7,000 views and the other one has like 4,000, 3,000 or something like that. I'll put it on the screen, you can see. Obviously the photos were really good, but I also think that was because of the teaser trailers and the videos that I created for the photos. For this photo shoot, I used an FX9, like a big cinema camera, and some cool lenses for the shoot, but obviously you don't have to do that. If you don't have access to that stuff, that's completely fine. You don't obviously need to shoot on a massive cinema camera, but shoot on your phone. Even shoot on the camera that you're using to take the photos, because if you have a mirrorless camera especially, most likely it's pretty good at video as well. Like I have a Canon R6 for photos that shoots pretty good video. I used to shoot all my YouTube videos on that camera. It's pretty good because it shoots 4K 60 frames. Like, it's really good. Even though it's technically a photo camera, it's really good for video too. So for you could use that. But yeah, it could also just be an iPhone. Like, it doesn't have to be your camera, just creating some sort of like video clips to promote the photo shoot. Because now, if you're posting a reel or something like that, you can post a reel with like a montage, like you show off that little B-roll, that BTS, and then you cut to the photos. That's like another way to show off the photos in a post. It's just about putting in that extra effort. Like, stop being lazy with it, you know what I mean? Like, try some BTS. I always tell my people on my program, like, do some BTS, do some behind the scenes, do some video montages, create some B-roll that could be cool for a video someday. And I think this is one of the reasons why I love portrait photography, because it's the one genre as a photographer where you can actually get rewarded for being as creative and risky as possible. Like, all my photo shoots are these super creative pieces of art. I'm not pulling punches. I'm not going like, oh, let's try to commercialize it a little bit. Like, no, like I'm doing what I want basically for the photo shoots. And I'm actually planning on creating a little module within my program which will talk about how you can incorporate video into your photo shoots and into your photography business, and how that can actually get you more photo shoot bookings. Because it's worked for me over the years, so I feel like I need to share that knowledge a little bit more in that program. So again, I want you to click the top link below so you can join today, secure that module early, and also just everything else that is offered within the courses. Post-production and the gear that I used. So because I did shoot film, the editing was quite minimal. Like for film, you don't really have to do much editing to the photos. You just have to the color grading's done all for you. It's kind of easy. All you have to do is really exposure, contrast, highlights, like the basic sliders. So I can't really say much about that. And also this was black and white, so it's even more simple really. I was going for this more like super high contrast, like deep shadow look. So obviously I bumped the contrast up quite a lot. I also, in camera, if you know much about film, you can actually push your film. So you have like a set ISO on your film. So for this, it's 400 ISO. If it goes in focus, 400 ISO, but I actually shot it at 800 ISO. Then I told the lab to push it to 800 in post. So when you're developing it, so it adds, when you push it, it adds some extra contrast to the image, which I obviously wanted. So I did that. And on top of that too, I intentionally underexposed it by half a stop to get even more contrast out of my image. I had my Mamiya RB67. This is my medium format film camera that I use for all of my photo shoots basically. And for video, I was using a Sony FX9. So the photo shoot was divided into two parts. So the first part we did just purely video, and the second part we did purely photos. So for the first part, the exact same setup for both in terms of the lighting, but I was using continuous lights. I had the continuous lights that were provided from the studio and some of my own as well, a little mix. And then for the photo section, I just replaced them all with strobes, apart from one light, because for some reason, one of the strobes wasn't working, so I just had a continuous light instead. Anyway, that is it for the breakdown. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful. I hope I gave you a new insight into how you should approach your photo shoots, because I think this is extremely important, because it's not just about shooting for free and doing a bunch of collaborative shoots that take you nowhere. Like when I first started doing this, it was like that. I was doing a couple of photo shoots, but it didn't really take me anywhere because I wasn't approaching it like I do approach them now. That's why I wanted to make this video, so you know how to approach it. And again, if you want a detailed blueprint to landing clients and to building up a profitable photography business, again, like I've been saying throughout the video, top link to the description below is my photography program, Photoshoot University. I already have students on the program that are making so much more progress. They're already landing shoots with clients that actually give them that creative control. They're making more money from the program. And they're doing these creative and fulfilling shoots that aren't just fun shoots. Like I'm not just telling you, do a bunch of fun shoots, guys, and that's it. Like I'm telling you to do these fun shoots that help you land those clients, that help you make your money back. And I guarantee you, if you join the program within the first few months, you will make your money back tenfold from a single photo shoot that you will book if you join. So yeah, if you want to join, if you want to actually start by making real progress as a portrait photographer, learn how to have fun with your photography while getting paid to do so, click the top link below. I want to see you inside the program. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you found this useful. Click on this video right here to learn more about portrait photography, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.